Hello everybody! Welcome again to another episode of Non-Scripted Ramblings. Thank you for tuning in. This is exciting because this is the spoiler zone. This is the spoiler video. This is gonna be, everything's on the table with this one, so I'm very excited to dive in. Ant-Man and the Wasp has been such a great movie. I loved the hell of it. If you watched my spoiler-free reaction to that, you'll know that I really enjoyed it, because I really enjoyed it. It was really good. And now we're going to dive a little deeper into the plot of the film and my thoughts on that, and the Stan Lee cameo, and some post-credit scenes that if you've seen the movie, you know what those are, and exactly how I'm probably going to react to them. So we'll get to that shortly. So the story basically goes, it's like I said in the non-spoiler video, set between Civil War and Infinity War, taking place around the same time as Infinity War, but just before the, that thing. And so basically Scott's on house arrest, like they mentioned in Avengers, because of his participation in Germany. He wasn't allowed to, he was, the deal that they made with the German government and the FBI and all of that, they said that, look, you cannot go to prison, we can get you out of the raft, because he was in the raft, and then I think maybe Cap must have, because at the end of Civil War, Cap gets to the raft and he breaks them all out, so I'm not sure. Anyway, but he got caught, is the point. Cap must have broke him out, and he got caught. And yeah, so you're not going to prison. You're going on house arrest for 2 years. So his house arrest is almost up, and he hasn't spoken to Hank Pym or Hope Van Dyne in that time, because they were really, really angry that he took the Ant-Man suit and went to Germany. Very angry, because it made them fugitives of the law as well. So they've been on the run for the last 2 years, and in the meantime they've been trying to come up with the technology to bring Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp, back from the quantum realm, because at the end of the last Ant-Man movie we see Scott goes into the quantum realm because he ended up shrinking that small to defeat Yellow Jacket, and he managed to come back. So Hank's like, okay, well, if that's possible, then that's possible we can save Janet. So he's come up with this quantum tunnel and this machine that's going to shrink down into the quantum realm, and they need to figure out a way to pinpoint Janet's exact location so they can save her, which they do. Like they find out where she is, and it's so funny. So because basically Scott, since he was down in the quantum realm, he did cross paths with Janet, as was theorized. So that they've kind of been connected, and he has this kind of weird dream where he kind of steps into one of her memories about playing hide and seek with Hope when she was a little girl, and it's really interesting, and that's how he decides to give Hank a call and be like, I'm sure it's nothing, but I just thought you should know that this happened. I had this dream, and maybe something important you need to know about that, and but it's probably nothing. And then they ended up kidnapping him and taking him to help figure out how to save Janet from the quantum realm. Meanwhile, we have kind of two sets of bad guys in this movie. The first we get introduced to is Walton Goggins' character, Birch, I think his last name was. I've forgotten his first name, but last name was Birch. And he kind of seems to be like one of those shady, like, I don't want to say dirty cop, but he's like one of those like guys that he kind of plays both sides like to his advantage. He has someone inside on the FBI that's helping him, because he wants to, like, I don't know, he's in the tech dealing business and stuff. So Hope is going to get some tech that's going to help them get her mum out of the quantum realm, and then he realizes, well, he's been told by the FBI that, no, you're actually Hope Van Dyne, and you're on the run from the law, and I want to, I'm going to keep this tech for myself, and I want you to take me to your father because he's got more tech and I can make money off of. And then, that obviously goes pear-shaped, and fighting ensues, and we get to see the Wasp in action for the first time, and she's awesome. Evangeline Lilly, as I said in the other video, she's excellent. She's so good. I loved every second watching her just be awesome. I can't wait to see her in Avengers 4. I mean, I hope she's in Avengers 4. Because, yeah, we'll get to that. I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, there's a bunch of characters that could or could not be in Avengers 4, but we don't know yet. It'd be a mistake if they didn't include her. But, yeah, so, and then that's when Scott puts the suit back on, and then he joins the fight, and they team up for the first time, and it's really awesome. The fight scenes with Ant-Man and the Wasp together are really, really cool. They work alongside together really well. Paul Rudd and Evangeline complement each other really well, really nicely. Both talented actors doing an awesome job in this movie. It's very, very good. And then, not long after the first fight, well, in the midst of the first fight, kind of still. Yeah, actually, yes. We get introduced to Ghost, played by john-kamen. And she's, trippy as hell and very powerful and hard to stop. Because she can phase between, like in and out of existence, sort of like, you know, move through things, and she's very unstable because we find out that her father worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. And I've got a theory, and I should have looked this up before I recorded, because, you know, I'm smart like that, but I'm fairly certain her father is the Ghost in the comics, I think, because the name sounded familiar. It was like Elias something. Oh, terrible, sorry. But because that's the kind of the vibe that I got from the way that they set that scene up, because they had some flashbacks to like him doing experiments at S.H.I.E.L.D. Years ago, when Ghost, Ava is her name, when she was a kid, and then she ended up getting affected by his experiment. Her parents died, and she became Ghost, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. decided to weaponize her, and then they sent her out on, you know, covert operative missions, and had her kill for them and stuff, and yeah, and then after S.H.I.E.L.D. collapsed, it's explained, Lawrence Fishburne's character, Bill Fisher, I think it's Fisher, fuck, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. I need to go see the movie again. He was awesome too, by the way. But yeah, he explained that after S.H.I.E.L.D. collapsed and Hydra, you know, that whole thing happened in Winter Soldier, he took Ava in, and he's like, we need to fix you because she's going to phase out of existence eventually. So the motivation for Ghost in this movie is that she's not trying to take over the world, she's not maniacal and you know, oh, my power and blah. And she hates what she has. It's killing her very slowly, and she doesn't want to die. But the thing that makes her the villain is, or, you know, not the hero, really. She's not really an anti-hero. She's more, okay, not really villain, she's more of an antagonist, I guess you would say. It's probably a better word for it. So basically she just doesn't want to die, and she's willing to do anything to stop herself from phasing out of existence. And the plan is for them, because once we learn that Bill and Ava are working together, the plan is for them to suck all the quantum energy out of Janet Van Dyne, because they want to get to the quantum realm as well, find her, and then suck the energy out of her, using Hank Pym's equipment in the quantum tunnel that he's trying to find and bring Janet back. And so that way, with the energy inside her, she can, you know, be saved, but she doesn't care if it might kill Janet. And that's where kind of, you know, Bill's allegiance kind of comes into play, because you can tell he's a good man, and his intentions are noble and good and all of that, but you know, he has a grudge against Hank because of their falling out at S.H.I.E.L.D. Years ago, and that, you know, they have lots of banter and like negative, you know, just arguing, you know, definitely some bad feelings there. Like I said, you know, a few sentences explains their entire relationship. You understand where both of them are coming from in regards to each other. Yeah, and it's really well done. But yeah, so he's like kind of conflicted with, like, you know, he'll stand against Hank to save Ava, because he's been with Ava the whole time, like since she was a kid, and was still, you know, struggling with, you know, her abilities and her illness, essentially. But then, you know, once it comes to a point where they realize that it could kill Janet, that's when he's just like, I can't let you do that, you know, you're not this is not the way. You know, like at one point she wants to kidnap Scott's daughter, Cassie, in order to, you know, get what she wants and save her own life. And Bill's just like, no, it's not how we do things. You know, this is, I will not be a part of this. If this is what you're going to do, we'll find another way. Yeah, so it's really, yeah, really well done, really well communicated. And so I like the fact that the antagonist of the film is not really a straight up villain. I think that was really good choice. And it wasn't too complicated that you couldn't understand it. You still knew what was going on. That was really well done. Okay, so some of my favorite things in this movie, as I said, the way that they play with the sizing of Ant-Man in this and how it goes from small to big and small back again, was awesome. Probably one of the funniest, okay, there was a lot of funny scenes in this movie, but one of the funniest ones in regards to the size thing was when they had to go to Cassie's school to get the original Ant-Man suit that Scott kept, and he hid it in a trophy that says "World's Best Grandma" for some reason. She's great, it's fine. And so basically they go there to get that out, but the newest suit is a prototype and it's kind of playing up. So he can't control the size he's going, so he ends up shrinking down to like the size of like a 5-year-old. Like, he's so tiny, he's like probably a meter tall, and it's the cutest thing, and it's so funny. And even like Hope gets to crack a joke, and she looks, you know, she looks down at him, she's like, "If Cap could see you now." Which I thought was great, because he was like, early at the start of the movie, he was like, you know, not bragging, but talking, like he referred to Captain America as Cap, and she was like, "Cap? Excuse me? You guys like old war buddies or something?" Like, yeah, it was very, very funny. And that was absolutely hysterical, and he had to like sneak around in this like blue, like kid's blue hoodie that fit him perfect, like, well, not perfectly, it was a little baggy on him, but like, it, you know, worked well enough to like, so he could hide. And he nearly got caught by one of the teachers, and he had to run away, and it's just like climbing downstairs was hysterical. Just oh no, there goes my cough. Oh my god, it was so funny. So bloody funny. Another really funny thing, obviously, I said Michael Peña's Luis steals the show again. He gets all the best lines. He's so hysterical. One of the funniest scenes in the movie is when Walton Goggins' character and his henchmen, they come to find out where Scott Lang, Hank Pym, and Hope Van Dyne are, so they can get the tech. That's all they want. They want the tech so they can make money. And there's this whole debate about whether or not this like formula they're going to be injected with is truth serum. The guy's like, "There's no such thing as truth serum. It's not a thing. It's not truth serum." Like, it's just a back and forth. They just keep hitting that beat, and it doesn't wear out. It stays funny every single time. And then Michael Peña, Luis gets injected with the truth serum, and yeah, and I was like, oh, please let them do one of those like, you know, when he tells his stories, and you go in, it's everyone's lip syncing to what he's saying, and they did that, and it was so good. And because he had the truth serum, he was just saying everything. He was saying stuff that they didn't even need to know, like how he met Scott in prison, and just, oh my god. And then stuff about Scott and Hope's relationship, and oh my god, yeah, so funny. It was so funny. I was in hysterics, laughing the whole time. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. And oh god, what was another? I feel like there was another really funny part. Oh well, actually, I should think, while I mentioned it, the Stan Lee cameo is pretty good. He's trying to get into his car, and they accidentally shrink it on him. And then and he's like got the keys, and I think he says something about like, you know, I guess I'm paying for what I did in the 60s or whatever, like, you know, whatever drugs he took in the 60s, I think is the joke. And he's like, well, you know, there's a car that's just shrunk, and now it's finally catching up to me now. So that was pretty funny. God, what else? I need to go see this movie again, and I will, because, you know, it's a Marvel movie, and I see them like a million times every time I go, every time they come out. Gosh. Oh yeah, okay, well, let's talk about, let's get in towards the ending. So while we've got like the ending is kind of coming from a couple of different fronts. you know, we've got, they find, okay, actually, that's the hilarious thing. That's the hilarious thing I was going to talk about. When they find the location of Janet is exceptionally well done because of the connection between her and Scott. And with the quantum tunnel open, she can access his consciousness or access his body, and she kind of takes over. And she runs to the computer, like, cause they're asking Scott, like, oh, the tunnel's open. Do you feel anything from Janet? And then he's just like, nah. And then without even missing a beat, he just runs over to the computer, starts typing and stuff. And then he starts acting very effeminate. And then he starts like calling them like affectionate. And then they go, it's Janet. And then like she like, you know, puts the hand on the face of both Hank and Hope, and it's so funny because it's Paul Rudd doing it, and he's just giving his all, delivering it as if he were Janet Van Dyne, Michelle Pfeiffer, and it's so funny. Like, he even calls Hope Jelly Bean, which is the childhood nickname she had for her. Yeah, and then like and she holds hands with Hank, like, you know, and they don't even realize, and then they're still holding hands when Janet leaves and Scott returns, and then like you see him slowly lift up, they're holding hands, and oh my god, freaking hysterical. That was really well done. Yeah, and so yeah, at the end of the movie we get a big, you know, chase scene between Walton Goggins' character and with Ghost involved, and the Wasp and Ant-Man and Luis. They're all trying to, you know, they're trying to get the lab, because the building in the trailer that gets shrunk is the PIM lab that has all the tech in it, the quantum tunnel, everything they need to access the quantum realm. And so they're fighting over that because Walton Goggins Birch wants the tech, and Ghost wants Janet Van Dyne, and then they want Janet Van Dyne to save her. And so they're all trying to get this, you know, building in the shape of a briefcase. So that's some really cool fight scenes and, you know, action with the car chases around San Francisco. There's a really funny scene where they go down Lombard Street, which is the really windy one, it's the windiest man-made road in the world. I've seen it in person, it's awesome. And yeah, that was pretty funny, and really well done. And yeah, and then meanwhile, while that's going on, because they've only got like a 2-hour window to access Janet, so Hank decides he's going to go down himself and rescue her, and then he eventually gets down there and saves her, and, you know, she's like, I'm not the same woman I was 30 years ago, because she's been affected by being down there for so long, and so they handle that really well. It was really cool to see Michelle Pfeiffer in this character. She does a really awesome job. Like, they don't give her a whole lot to do. I feel like she may pop up again down the track. You know, I doubt, you know, that wouldn't be a thing. You know, she was really good, and it's Michelle Pfeiffer. Why not? Use her if you have her. Yeah, and then so they save her, they bring her back, and then, you know, there's just, you know, conflict going on with that, and yeah, and then Ghost tries to kill Janet, but then Janet ends up saving Ghost. She ends up using her energy, you know, in a safe way to save Ghost, and she stops her from phasing and stuff, and yeah, so she gets fixed, and then she's like, well, I'm not gonna, you know, she realizes, like, well, now that I'm healthy, like, I've done some bad things, so I need to run, and then Bill is like, no, you can't run, you know, we're in this together, I'm not leaving you, because she's like telling him to leave, and he's like, I've done bad things, you haven't, you need to go, and he's like, I'm not leaving you. So they've got this, you know, kind of father-daughter bond going on, which is really sweet. And yeah, I was gonna say a thing and I've forgotten it. Bugger. Really bad. Oh yeah, the FBI in this movie are very funny. Randall Park, I believe is the actor's name. He played Kim Jong-un in The Interview with James Franco and Seth Rogen. He's a very funny actor. He plays the head of the investigation into trying to, you know, well, keep Scott on house arrest and then find Hope and Hank. And he is hilarious, because there's a bunch of scenes where a couple of scenes where they have to go, like, Scott has to be back in the house with the house arrest bracelet on his ankle, so he doesn't get, you know, he doesn't get sent to jail for 20 years for breaching his house arrest. And they use, yeah, to keep them, you know, unawares that he's away, like, out of the house, they use the giant ant which is really great. The giant ant is very awesome, with the bangle on, the ankle brace on. Yeah, that's very funny. And then yeah, at the end of the movie, when they come to, you know, they think they've caught him in the act, but no, he's there again. Everything's fine, and then they take off the ankle bracelet, and then there's this really hilarious banter between the agent and Scott about, like, you know, I'll be seeing you again. And then Scott's just like, will you though? Like, are you like trying to, you know, saying we should go out for dinner sometime, or like, you know, like, are you just like, what do you mean? Like, it's just really awkward, kind of funny banter between the two of them. And then at the end, he comes back in and finishes it with, what, do you want to go to dinner? And then the entire theatre lost their shit. It was so funny. Okay, so yeah, happy ending for the movie. Really, really good. Let's talk about the post-credit scenes, and then I'm going to wrap this video up. Okay, so the first post-credit scene, I may as well start with the first one, even though it's the most important one. Okay, all right, so we cut to like maybe, probably a few days, I guess, after the events of the movie, and they're trying to go back into the quantum realm to get more quantum energy to help Ghost, because they're saying, you know, we need some more energy for our ghost friend, so it mustn't be a permanent fix, just like she just needs regular like medication, I guess, to keep her here and not keep her from phasing away. So yeah, so they're sending Scott back into the quantum realm through the tunnel in the van, and then he goes down there. He goes down there and it's all fine, and they're communicating, everything's great. And then like he's got his device, he traps the energy, and he's like, cool, I'm ready to come back. And then there's some static in the walkie-talkie, like in his ear head, and he's like, you know, trying to reach out to them, trying to call out to them. He's like, no, there's no answer, what's going on? And then, because Marvel like to make us suffer, we cut back to the, you know, reality, the real world, the big world, you know, the normal sized world, and we just see 3 piles of dust falling down, just dust. And the freaking theater went ballistic. We were just like, what? All 3 of them dusted? We were just in such shock, and I'm still in I'm like, I didn't think they would kill all 3 of them. Like, that's insane. So we've lost Hank Pym, we've lost Janet Van Dyne, and we have lost Hope Van Dyne. They are dust. They are piles of dust, and Scott is stuck in the quantum realm with no way of getting back. So that's where the movie ends. And then the second post-credit scene is we go to Scott's house, and then, you know, there's just deathly silence in the movie and in the cinema. And then there's a quick shot of like the lounge room, and there's a TV on, and it says, you know, emergency broadcast system in effect or whatever. Like, I think someone will probably screenshot it to see what's happened, what it says. I couldn't really make it out, but it's like emergency broadcasting. So there's, you know, the world's obviously gone to shit after the snap. And then to cut the tension beautifully, they just, you know, you can hear the drums playing in the background, and then the camera pans around, and then there's the giant ant playing the drums like nothing's happened. And that's the movie. Yeah, so I guess there's going to be a lot of speculation and a lot of theories now as to what this means for Avengers 4. Because, you know, people have seen their set photos leaked of Scott Lang and Iron Man, Tony Stark, back in New York in 2012 in Avengers 1 during the Battle of New York with Loki and the Chitauri going on. So, yeah. Right before, though, this was such a wink to the camera and to us. So right before Scott went into the quantum realm, Michelle Pfeiffer's Janet Van Dyne specifically says, stay away from time vortexes, because if you get stuck in there, you'll be gone forever. Like, we won't be able to get you out. So yeah, I think that might be some kind of thing to do with Avengers 4. So he might get stuck in a time vortex and then end up in New York in 2012 somehow. I don't know. But that, yeah, that was such a shock to see. And then right at the, oh my god, right at the end, because you know how they always say the heroes will return in this movie, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of Infinity War, we had Thanos will return, because Marvel are really cruel. At the end of this one, they said, Ant-Man and the Wasp will return. And then a question mark appeared. It just faded in a question mark, like, will they return? We don't know. And everyone just lost it again. We're just like, for fuck's sake. Oh my god. Like, kudos to Marvel for, again, delivering the suspense and, yeah, setting up the future perfectly, brilliantly. Getting the fans to go nuts. The rest of the world, once they see this movie, is going to lose their shit over it. It's going to be fantastic. But yes, I love the movie. Go check it out. I think that's all I want to say. It was fantastic fun. I think I enjoyed it better than the first one. It was a lot funnier. And yeah, and the effects were great, and just, yeah, the whole thing. It was awesome. I can't wait to go see it again, which is what I'm going to do. So thank you for watching my ramble about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Let me know what you guys think of it. Leave me a comment, you know, or, you know, subscribe if you want to catch up with, you know, I did a Road to Infinity War, Countdown to Infinity War series where I reviewed all of the Marvel movies. So if you haven't seen them, go check them out. Also, I did a video on Ant-Man too. So if you want to go back and listen to my thoughts on the first Ant-Man movie, that would be awesome. In the meantime, you know, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. I've been a Kendall Richardson, and you've just experienced non-scripted ramblings.